MLS is starting earlier than usual this year on account of the World Cup. And for Minnesota United, that means preseason is already in full swing. Today, I'm honored to be joined by the Loons manager, Adrian Heath, to talk about being one of the league's longest tenured coaches, his team's preparations for the upcoming campaign, as well as his thoughts on the situation at his former beloved club, Everton. Qué Golazo begins right now. Hey everybody, welcome to Qué Golazo. Thank you so much for being part of the family. We're on Twitter, Qué Golazo Pod. We're also on youtube.com/Qué Golazo. Right then, I don't want to take too much of this man's precious time. Adrian Heath, how are you, my friend? Welcome to Qué Golazo on CBS Sports.
Well, it's good to be here, Luis. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk to you. Obviously, we know your great work as a manager, as well myself as, you're a former player. I'm a Villa fan. I remember those 9 performances you had for us, so I appreciate you. But obviously, the Everton perspective is going to be very, very well received here for this episode. But obviously, Adrian, I wanted to begin with Minnesota United and your time there. Obviously, I wanted to just do a little bit of lay of the land. Obviously, in the intro, I said, Adrian, that, one of the longest tenured coaches in the league, 4th longest, but this is your 6th season with Minnesota. You finished 5th in the West last time around, fell to the Timbers, the eventual champions. No shame in that in the first round of the playoffs. How did you see last season?
A little bit frustrating, to be honest, Luis. I think that we were very, very good at times and we were very poor at times. And I think the word, and we've spoke about it, was inconsistency. Our performances fluctuated too much for my liking. We had games where I thought we were as good as anybody in the league. And we had games where I thought we were probably as bad as anybody in the league. And you're not really going to achieve what you want to achieve when your performances are that different at times. And if there's one thing that we have to rectify this year, I think that we have to be more consistent, not only in our performances, but even in the consistency of our lineups. We had too many injuries. We never settled. And it was a very frustrating year, Luis, to be honest.
Yeah, you mentioned a few things, specifically looking ahead to 2022. Obviously, press the reset button. That's one of the great things about MLS, I guess. The no relegation. You can press that reset button and formulate yourself with a brand new project, a clean page. Let me ask you something, Adrian. You've been in this league for a long time now. How has the league, do you think, changed since you took over in November 2016?
I think when I look back, I've been in the States now. This will be coming up for my 13th year. And I think the league is unrecognizable from when I first arrived. We were USL then. We were in Austin. Then we moved to Orlando. And then we became an MLS team. But when I look at what the league's become, the stadiums that have been built, the caliber of player, and now even the introduction of the young players that are coming through within the league, the likes of Ricardo Pepi. You look at the 2 or 3 kids who've left Dallas. Then you look at Brendan Aronson. You look at Caden Clark now. I think that the game is probably the best that it's ever been in terms of a growing sport, but in terms of the quality. I think the quality on the field is getting better each year. And I know that if you stand still in this league at this particular time, you're going to get left behind. You look at, this off-season, you look at what Toronto are doing with the likes of Insigne, you look at the young players being brought into the league from South America. I think it's a really exciting time, Luis.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Specifically, you're talking about, exciting players coming in, of course, Insigne, et cetera, but, Reynoso is somebody that I really pay attention to. Obviously, he's going to be part of your program. Let's talk about, the project, thinking ahead and coping, obviously, as well with some incomings, but also some outgoings. Ethan Finley's gone, Osvaldo Alonso. How is the roster rebuilding going? How are you seeing that as you obviously just begin preseason? You're days away from going to Florida.
Yeah, we've had 2 or 3 days, so it's early days. We've got a little bit of COVID going around, so we've got 4 or 5 guys who are not in. Robin Lode's doing his military service back in Finland, so that's a new one on us. I've never had that before, I'm going to be honest. But
you must have been like, yeah, right, pull me another one.
Yeah, exactly. But no, obviously we've lost Jan Grey Goose, we lost Ozzy Alonso, we lost Ethan Finley, we lost 3 quality players, 3 quality professionals, really good guys who've been terrific for us. But we've, as always, you have to move on. And, we've had to make some decisions because with the CBA, there's been the salary cap is exactly the same as it was 3 years ago. In that time, we've probably signed 7 or 8 new players into new contracts. So something has to give. So it's a beginning of a new little era, really, because we've lost some really experienced and top professionals. But now it's, the Asani Dotsons of this world, they have to step up now. This is their opportunity.
Yeah, let's. I wanted to also talk about, Tani Olawasewi, an exciting draft pick. I know that he was injured in his college time before he came. How is he integrating so far?
He's working really, really hard. He's still not 100%. He had a difficult last year. We followed him for a couple of years, and I actually think that if he had a good season this year and hadn't been injured, we probably wouldn't have got him at 17. So it's going to be a process for us, but we feel as though the kid's got a lot of upside, got a lot of natural talent, very big, very strong, very quick. So he's got a lot of qualities, but it's going to be time, and we'll give him time. As I said to him the other day, he's getting a bit frustrated because he wants to join in. I said, hey, we've drafted you for the next 2 or 3 years, not the next 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll take a time and bring him along slowly. But we are really pleased with him, and we've got high hopes for him, for sure.
Adrian, these young kids, man, they don't have any patience anymore. All this TikTok and social. How do you cope with that, huh?
Yeah, obviously. I don't know what we did before mobile phones, because that's the only thing I ever see him now. I keep saying to him, I'm going to ban him from the training facility. I think it'd be a bad day for me, but yeah,
easier were the days when a player just didn't even have social media or a phone and stuff like that. Absolutely. How do you like living in Minnesota, by the way?
It's it might be the best place I've lived in the States, which people might be surprised at. We loved the time in Austin, we loved the time in Orlando, but I really like this place. I like the fact that we get the 4 seasons, and we do get the 4 seasons because it's freezing at this moment in time.
Yeah.
We've got about 3 foot of snow outside, but no, it's a great place to live. The people have been incredibly welcoming to me and my family, so I'm really enjoying my time here.
Yeah, and you have a fantastic community, obviously, with that club, and the stadium is just an absolute piece of beauty. The USMNT actually is going to be in the World Cup qualifying action next month at Allianz Field, which has sparked a little debate, Adrian, over whether playing in cold conditions will benefit the team or not. What do you think about that? Somebody that knows the area very well, the temperature, etc. Do you think that Minnesota turns that cold into a competitive advantage?
Well, I think the fact is that the US have picked this obviously for a reason. For my money, and I might be a little bit biased, it's the best stadium in the US at this moment in time, soccer specific. It'll be sold out. The atmosphere will be electric, and obviously Greg and the US Soccer Federation have thought this would help them against Honduras. I think it's going to be a red hot atmosphere. It won't be red hot outside, but the atmosphere will be. I know that they'll have an incredible surface to play on. I know the groundsman's working really hard to give them a top class field to play on, and I know the atmosphere is going to be great. So hopefully it's the first of many, because the stadium deserves to be holding great games.
Well, Adrian, I tell you, I'm Peruvian, and sometimes I feel like, man, we should play our games in Cusco sometimes, in that altitude next to Machu Picchu. I'm telling you, those other countries won't know what hit them sometimes.
Well, hey, every bit of advantage you can get, you have to make the most of it, don't you?
100%. Well, listen, good luck with the rest of preseason, Minnesota United. I wanted to shift gears a little bit. Another reason why I'm very thankful, selfishly, that you're here right now is that obviously you're also an Everton legend. 2 first division titles, the FA Cup, UEFA Cup, Winners' Cup. We all know the history, of course. As a player, you enjoyed huge success at Goodison Park during the club's heyday. But I do want to talk about the recent situation. What do you make of it, first of all? Rafa Benitez out, and the club searches for a new manager as Duncan Ferguson's there for caretaker.
Obviously, I don't think anybody likes the situation that we're in at this moment in time. I think it was always going to be it was a controversial decision to give Rafa the job in the first place. My only thought is, I think that football management is so difficult. The Premier League is so difficult. But we all knew what was going to happen if the results didn't go the way that everybody planned, because the rivalry between them 2 teams, Everton and Liverpool, is something that is unmatched really anywhere in the world. So I knew it was going to be difficult, and the fact that you win 1 game in 13, it was inevitable what was going to happen. I'm so pleased that the big man's going to be back in charge, because I think last time when he took over, he galvanised the club. And at this moment in time, everybody needs to be pulling on the same page, because the crowd at this moment are not in love with the team. The team aren't playing well. There's anger at the board of directors. So I just hope that Duncan can steady the ship, get everybody back on the same page, start to win a few games, and then decide which way they're going to go.
Yeah, you said a very important thing there about everybody getting on the same page. I feel like part of it as well, when Farhad Moshiri back, he promised Champions League football when he took over in 2016. I'm not saying that that's never going to happen, but sometimes you have to be realistic about what you can do. Do you think that's also part of the issue, the fact that you've been sold a different type of ideal and it hasn't really projected itself as much?
Yeah, and I think also, Luis, you have to look at, from the chairman's point of view, he spent £500 million.
Yeah, a lot of money. Yeah.
You can't label that at him. Now, maybe you could say some of the decisions have not been right. The manager's choices might not have been right. But he's certainly backed the club. He's gave them money. I just think that, I look at your team now, Aston Villa, the atmosphere in Villa Park against Manchester United the other day was what everybody's trying to get.
Yeah.
Everybody on the same page. The crowd are back in love with the team. The crowd are happy with the manager that they've got. Everton need to be exactly that. So the next decision that they make, the next appointment they make, has to be right. Because otherwise, it's too difficult a league to have, fractions and, as I say, the crowd not in love with the club and or the team. And I just think that they have to make this next decision right, because it's going to be a long way back to get back into the Champions League with the way the competition is at this moment in time.
Yeah, the final question, Adrian, is you know exactly what it's like to play for this club, wear that shirt. Somebody that also knows that very well is Wayne Rooney. What would you make of that?
Well, I personally think it might be too early. Wayne's only just started, and obviously Frank Lampard got mentioned, and you saw what happened with Frank, that jump up from Championship to being a Premier League manager with the expectations that goes on it.
Yeah, reality check, yeah.
Yeah, Wayne started his managerial career so well. I think it very, very early for him, because this is not going to be an easy job to turn around. You look at the team on the field at this moment in time, I'm not sure it's any better than being where it is in the league at this moment in time. So, difficult decision. I'm glad I'm not making the next choice, but it's a very important one. I know that much. And at some stage, if Wayne carries on, maybe it's going to be, it's fate that he goes back home and manages Everton. But I think it's very early for him to take that job on at this moment in time.
No, fair point, absolutely. And let's hope that for Everton fans' sakes that the club rejuvenates itself and comes back to life. And most importantly, Adrian Heath, the best of luck to Minnesota United as you get ready for another MLS 2022 season. Are you excited the fact that it's starting a little earlier? What do you make of that?
I'm just glad to get around to it again. I hate the off-season, 6-7 weeks without football. It's too much for me, so I'm glad that we're getting around to it again.
Back to work, Adrian Heath. I love it. Well, the very best of luck to you, my friend, and Minnesota United. And we wish you the very best. Thank you so much for joining Qué Golazo, my friend.
Hey, anytime, Luis. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Make sure to follow us on Qué Golazo Pod MLS season, end of February, and much more content to come from us on that note. Have a great, great rest of your week.